What's up, everybody? Welcome to our channel, Honest Hockey Takes. I'm Hohen and this is Scott, and in this video we'll be sharing the weekly recap of this past week.
Yeah, so we're going to start off as we usually do with our 3 stars of the week. For our third star this week, we have from the Winnipeg Jets, Pierre-Luc Dubois, who in 4 games had 3 goals, 4 assists, and 7 points. And I know me and Hohen aren't a super big fan of this player, but he really showed up for the Jets this week and a big part of why they won 3 of their 4 games. So good job. And our second star of the week, this guy just does not stop getting points. It's insane. And that is Mr. Tage Thompson from the Buffalo Sabres. This guy had a 5-goal game this week. Heck, he had like 5 goals in like half the game. It was absolutely ridiculous. He added 2 helpers for 7 points in 3 games, over 2 points a game. Can't leave him off this list. And our first star, and I think this is the first time this year we've had a goalie as our first star, but could not deny this guy, was Charlie Lindgren, the Washington Capitals goaltender, who went 4-0, didn't lose a game, first goalie we've seen this year go 4-0 in a week, and he had a .948 save percentage and a 1.5 goals against. This guy was unreal, and the big reason why the Caps are now back in the playoff hunt. Good job, Charlie.
Kemper who? And I'll be starting with the weekly winners of this week. And at number 1, we have the New York Rangers. Wow, they're on 3-0 this week. After the poor performance they've had for the last past month, it's good to see that this team has finally came back and looking strong again. The guys are starting to fire on all cylinders again. Zibanejad, Fox, like all those guys are doing really, really well. And they beat some good teams too. Vegas Golden Knights. They beat Colorado.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot the third team, but they beat some good teams there.
No, they were on fire. Like you said, they're beating playoff caliber teams. Oh, St. Louis was the last team they were thinking of. But like these guys were like pretty dominant. Guys like Panarin were stepping up, finally not invisible, having multiple assist games, like just crazy performance all around. This is what this team needed because we talked about, as you saw in some of our other videos and our video we dedicated just to the Rangers, this team has not been as nearly as impressive as we expected them to be. This was a team that we had pegged to win the division, and they've really come out slow, but I think they're finally on the mend and they look to be back to where they were expected to be at the beginning of the season. And for our next winner of the week, I have the Washington Capitals, team that went 4-0 this week, and I don't think anyone expected this considering how slow they started this year. This team was banged up, injured, they did not have most of their star players, and they just performed so well this week. They got so much contributions from their third, fourth lines and just all around depth scoring, as well as their defensive play was like night and day from what it started in the first like 20, 25 games of this year. This team was not allowing a lot of goals, not allowing as many shots as usual, and like we said in our first star, Charlie Lindgren stood on his head this week and was like just absolutely amazing for this team and filled in great for Darcy not being there for a bit. And now John Carlson, a guy we kind of talked about a little bit last video, he's starting to pick it up to more what we're expecting from him as a number 1 D-man.
Yeah, John Carlson is huge on this team. I feel like the bloodline of the Washington Capitals lies on this guy. The performance of this team is going to be based on the performance of the goalie and especially John Carlson, because he is by far the most important defenseman back there. There's no one even come close to him.
Yeah, no.
Charlie Lindgren absolutely stole the show this week. I'm like, at this point you gotta start to question what do you do with Darcy Kuemper at this point. It's the same problem the Edmonton Oilers have right now with Jack Campbell right now. They went out in the free agency and paid so much money for these goalies, and they're not performing up to standard.
And how do you sit a guy who's playing this well? You can't. You can't really do that.
Can't.
You have to ride the hot hand.
And Charlie Lindgren's a younger goalie, and I feel like with good potential. So I would rather start this guy. It's just like Stuart Skinner at this point.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, it's a very similar situation.
Yeah.
And one last thing I wanted to talk about with this is we got to do a bit of Ovi watching this week. Unfortunately, a lot of his goals were empty netters, but you know what? He's inching closer. They all count. He's inching closer to the 800 mark. We could literally see him hit 800 goals this upcoming week. So that's something to stay tuned and watch for and be like on your phones checking the Caps score.
Yeah, and the next winner that we have is the Pittsburgh Penguins, who went 3-0 this week. Remember we told you guys to get Brian Rust? Look at him now.
Brian Rust just went off the last 4 or 5 games, man. Wow.
Yeah, they played good. They're playing really good. They're playing like the old-time Pittsburgh Penguin. They're playing fast. They're playing aggressive. I like it. Sidney Crosby looks like he's never missed a beat. He looks like hasn't aged one bit. He looked as good as he did 5 years ago. Skating that puck, the way he's doing right now, the way he's able to be aggressive and be able to handles crazy passes and skate the puck. It's impressive to see, honestly.
Yeah, and I noticed this team really doesn't seem like they can be beat when both him and Malkin are firing off, and this was that type of week. So Crosby was scoring these goals and making these plays offensively, but Malkin on the second line, he was racking up assists like no one's business. Like this guy was putting up some big assist totals this week. I think he had 5 or 6. It was pretty unreal.
And it's good to see that their goalie is starting to pick it up a little bit. Their defense is definitely looking a little bit better.
See, that's a really feel-good moment to see Chris Letang come back after only like a short time from being diagnosed with having a stroke. So that's good to see. We hope he's okay, and we hope that his play can continue to grow. Alrighty, and our final big winner of the week, we have the Toronto Maple Leafs, who went from struggling to being one of, if not the hottest team in the entire NHL. They're now 8-0-2 in their last 10 games, which is absolutely remarkable. And where else do we start? Then this is coming from Mitch Marner, just driving this team to success. This guy is now up to 22 games straight with a point. Absolutely unreal.
Yeah, and the goalie tandem is looking really good. Like a lot of people, I think that was the biggest question mark going into this season. Was the goaltending tandem and how it's gonna stand up. But both Matt Murray and Samsonov have been terrific.
No, it's unreal. It's actually an upgrade. Like, I remember at the beginning of this year, everyone was like flaming Toronto for getting rid of guys like Campbell. Yeah. But you know what? They've upgraded. It's hilarious. Like, everyone made such a big deal of this. And like when we were doing our preseason predictions, I still had Toronto winning this division. I mean, they're not there yet because obviously Boston is absolutely elite, but they're catching up slowly. And this team looks fine in net. I don't see the problem. And they're doing all of this without some key players, especially on the defense. Morgan Rielly's not playing, and Jake Muzzin's missed so much time, and they're still finding ways to not allow a lot of goals, and their top 6 forwards are absolutely been shining and just unstoppable.
One guy I really gotta mention is Mark Giordano. Man, this guy signed such a. This guy did the impossible by signing an $800,000 contract to stay on this team, to keep the team under cap. And he is performing like he's a $4 million defenseman.
He's by far their best D-man right now. It's not even close.
Like,
he's playing so well.
Toronto's got to start to make a statue for this guy for what he's been doing for your team. He did them such a
solid, and he probably actually saved their team cap-wise completely. It's unreal. Good job, Gio, and keep it up, man. 39 years old, you're still killing it.
Yeah. And now, going from the biggest winners, we're going to go switch to the biggest losers of the week. And at number 1, we have the Florida Panthers, who are 1-3 for the week, which is unacceptable by a team that went into this season with such high expectations. It's good to see that Barkov has finally came back.
Yeah, he's been gone for way too long for that illness.
Yeah, but you can't even blame these guys right now. Like for Hagee and Barkov and Kachuk and even Bennett have been playing well on this team, but the other guys, no, not really.
The depth hasn't been there. You can tell that this team misses the depth they had offensively last year, especially.
And it's starting to show, is Paul Maurice the correct coach for this team? And on top of that, I don't know why, me and Scott set this off. Scott brought this to me off air, is that Sergei Bobrovsky started back-to-back. Why?
Yeah, this guy it's clear that Spencer Knight is the better goaltender. I know he's had a couple injury issues here and there, but with Bobrovsky in net, this team is not going to win a lot of games.
Yeah, I feel like Paul Maurice is trying to harp on playing more of a playoff style hockey, because obviously last year's playoffs, this team didn't perform in the playoffs. But I don't know. This team doesn't look good at all. And I know they lost to some good teams this week, but still.
I was going to say, they did lose to some good playoff caliber teams like Tampa Bay, Winnipeg, and Seattle, which are all killing it right now. But these are the games a team like the Panthers have to win. 1, it's practice for playoff matchups that you're going to play only against top-tier teams. And 2, if you're not going to beat these other good teams, how are you supposed to move up into that 3-4 spot in your division? It's not going to happen. That division is the best stacked division in hockey. You got teams like Boston, Toronto, and Tampa. You have to prove it if you want to be up there in this division, because this division is way too deep. Alrighty, and our next biggest loser, we have the St. Louis Blues. Man, I swear they're always on this darn list. It's kind of ridiculous. It's bad. They went 1-2-1 this week. They're losing traction quickly on playoff hopes, and a lot of these other teams in the Central have looked a lot better. I mean, they're still way behind Colorado, and Colorado's been playing with literally half their roster on the IR. It's kind of embarrassing because St. Louis doesn't have any excuses. They have their full roster. This is their full team, and they still can't get it done.
I'm getting bored talking about this team. This team is so boring to talk to. I don't know. This team is not gonna make the playoffs. I can tell you right now at this point. Like these are games that they had to win, and they're not winning them. So
for me, it's as simple as this, and it doesn't get much more basic. Their goaltending combines for a 3.5 goals against average. That is atrocious. That is genuinely one of the worst I've ever seen watching hockey for a tandem in my life. This is really poor performance, and I know it's not all the two goalies, because I mean, if you have two different goalies and they're each getting torched really bad, probably says that your defense is not very good either, and I have to give them at least like 30-40% of the blame.
Yeah, I mean, Torrey Krug, come on, man. Like, Torrey Krug is so leaky on defense. Like, I don't really like this player.
I think they really all are.
They all are.
Except for Justin Falk.
That's the only good one.
He's the only one who stands out that's actually looked good. Everyone else is kind of like just like leaking plays here and there. Like,
yeah, and Craig Berube calling out his goalie. I don't even know that if that helps. But I feel like Jordan Binnington deserves that criticism.
Yeah, it's funny because he actually looked like on Sunday that he was finally going to start to have a really good game. And I was like, oh, maybe this is progress. And then sure as hell, like right near the end of the game, he implodes and they lose. So, I mean, this guy, once he lets in a goal, I've noticed, it just comes in waves. Like, he could have a shutout for the first 25 minutes of a game. He allows one in minute 26. He's probably going to have 3 before the end of the second period.
Yeah, Jordan Binnington's got to stop being a baby. Just play hockey, man.
Yeah, he needs, I think, to go either for therapy or for some sports psychology to kind of get that stuff worked out, because he's really hurting his team, and they need to be a lot better in net and a lot better on the back end for defense, because this team, we know, can score goals. So.
And the last team that we have for the biggest losers of the week will be the Nashville Predators. They only played 2 games this week, but they went 0-2. The only reason why we really have this team up here is because this team was projected to be doing a little bit, kind of like in the playoff bubble.
Yeah, almost everyone we watched, like before the year started, whether it's analysts or other channels, they all had this team as a playoff team. We didn't actually. We thought that they would be like 5th or 6th. But yeah, they really haven't performed very well. Why
we don't have this team in the playoffs is because we had all these players that they had last year that had all these high years. They're starting to come back to earth, right? Like the Granlunds and the Duchesne especially, Johansson. These guys aren't like the point production that they had last year was absolutely unreal, and there's no way that those players were going to sustain that at this age. And so
no, even players like Philip Forsberg, who I actually really like, one of my favorite players on this team, he hasn't been scoring near at the same rate that he had been in the past, and he's definitely taken a step back. And his ice time, they were starting to really do some weird stuff this week with his ice time. One game I saw he only had 13 and a half minutes, and he wasn't even hurt, so I thought that was a little odd. I guess they're trying to teach him a bit of a lesson. And their rookie sensation, Juuso Parssinen, who started out really hot his first 5 games, has kind of cooled off and kind of gone dry for the last 4 or 5 games. So they really haven't been getting that extra kick of offense from like their bottom 6 or any of like the middle 6 type guys.
And I love Roman Josi. He's one of my favorite defensemen. But if you guys expect that this guy was going to have another 90-point season, good luck. He's not going to have that again. So
yeah, it's a little unexpected. I mean, he's probably still going to be around 75 points.
Yeah.
But I mean, you can't expect this one defenseman like who's over 30 now to carry your entire offense.
Which he did last year.
Which he did. He totally did. He probably was an MVP candidate in my mind last year. But you can't really expect that. And overall, the goaltending needs to be better.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, that concludes our winners and losers. So now on to our weekly rookie watch, where I'll be talking about 3 rookies who stood out this week to me and had pretty solid weeks and affected their team positively. And first off, we have one of our absolute favorites, and he's on here a lot, probably because he's the front runner for the Calder right now, and that's Matty Beniers, who in 3 games this week got another goal and an assist for 2 points and helped this team help them today not be winless on the week. So that was good because they struggled a bit this week, but he was very clutch today and beat the Panthers, and we got to give this guy props for how mature he is already as a player. And secondly, we have Cole Perfetti from the Winnipeg Jets. It seems like his slow start to the year is completely gone. In his like last 15 games, this guy's almost a point per game. He's been absolutely unreal. And this week he had another 2 points, 2 goals. So it's nice to see him shooting. We were always talking about how we wanted him to shoot more because he's got a good shot. So it's nice to see Cole step up that way. And he has some good chemistry with Blake Wheeler and Scheifele. So I want that to continue for sure. And lastly on our list, we have from the Arizona Coyotes, Matias Michelli, who in 4 games this week had 3 more assists to add to his total. He's currently top 3 of all rookie scoring. He probably won't catch Matty Beniers because, I mean, it's getting hard for anyone point-wise to catch Matty Beniers. But he is quite a promising young prospect for the Arizona Coyotes and something they can definitely look forward to in the future.
Yep, and that's all we have for this week's recap. If you guys like this video, please consider giving a like and subscribe. But until next time, we'll see you guys in the next video.
Take care, guys.
Bye.